Hey everyone, and welcome back to this channel. In today's class, we'll be talking about adaptation of animals to aquatic habitats. In the previous class, we talked about the gyneatostomata, where we mentioned the origin of jaw. But before we get into today's class, I would like to remind us that we should please subscribe to this channel, like, and comment if you have any question based on this video or the videos that we have done before. Now let us get into today's class. We said gnatostom are jawed vertebrates, and we can classify them into osteochites, chondrochites, reptiles, amphibians, apes, and mammals, right? And we said one of the characteristics of the gnatostom is the presence of jaws and the presence of paired appendages. And we mentioned the origin of jaws as well as the origin of paired appendages in the previous video that we have done, right? If you have not watched that video, just check the previous video that we dropped before. You will see the origin of jaw and the origin of paired appendages. Now, in today's class, we'll be talking about aquatic habitats. And the question we'll be answering for today's class is, what is an aquatic habitat? What are the animals that stays in aquatic habitat? What are the classification of animals that stays in aquatic habitat? What are the adaptation of these animals to the aquatic habitat? So, let us get into it. When we're talking about aquatic habitat, it is an habitat that is covered with water body. And the water is an homogeneous medium for animals where they can stay and they can survive if they have the adaptive structure as well as the adaptive features of staying in water. Water bodies have generally rich food resources. They are generally rich in terms of food. And the conditions on terrestrial habitats is different from the conditions in aquatic habitat because there are temperature fluctuation in some parts as well as there are temperature fluctuation in some minimum in some parts of the aquatic habitat. Now, what are now the characteristics of animals that stays in aquatic habitat? An animal that stays in aquatic habitat must have the ability to swim. They must have the ability to overcome the resistance of surrounding medium, and they must have an organ that make them to have the ability to float. That is what we'll be talking about the swim bladder. We'll soon get there. Now, based on this, we can classify an aquatic animal into two types. Either it's a primary aquatic animal or it's a secondary aquatic animal. What are primary aquatic animals and what are secondary aquatic animals? Primary aquatic animals are those animals whose ancestor stays inside water and they themselves they still stay inside water up to now. And this group of animals exhibit perfect aquatic adaptation. You see, all fishes, they are primary aquatic animals. Now, what are secondary aquatic animals? Secondary aquatic animals are animals that their ancestors are breathing land animals. They are breathing land animals. But because of some adaptation and some reasons, they had to come into water for survival. For example, amphibians, reptiles, aves, mammals. And amphibian is an intermediary between the primary aquatic animals and the secondary aquatic animals because amphibians stays inside water in the larval stage as a tadpole and they come on land when they are now an adult, you understand. So we can have some reptiles that stays inside water as well, such as crocodiles as well as turtle. We have some apes that stay inside water, such as ducks and swan. They stay inside water. We have some mammals that stay inside water as well, such as whales, orcas, which is killer whale, and dolphin. These are mammals and they stays inside water. So these are secondary aquatic animals because their ancestors are breeding land animals, but because of some adaptive features, they have to go inside what? Inside water. Now let us proceed. This is a fish anatomy, and this anatomy is showing the adaptive structure of animals, like of aquatic animal, of primary aquatic animal, which is basically the fish. And we have different type of adaptive structure here, such as the what? Such as the gallbladder. We have the swim bladder, which I said we'll be talking about very soon. We have the dorsal fin, the caudal fin, the anal fin, the pelvic fin, and the pectoral fin, right? We have the gills, which is used for respiration. We have the heart, which is two-chambered heart. We have the liver, we have the stomach, and we have different type of organs. You understand? And this part of them is known as the anterior part. This part is known as the posterior. This part is known as the dorsal, and this part is known as the ventral part. You understand? So this is anterior, this is posterior, this is dorsal, and this is ventral. In case I'm describing them and I said the posterior, the anterior, you can know what I'm trying to say here. Now let us proceed. Now, what are the adaptation of primary aquatic animals? The first adaptation is body contour. And how do their body look like? They have a streamlined body, and this streamlined body is the primary prerequisite for aquatic life in primary aquatic habitats. And this streamlined body helps them to reduce the drag due to turbulence. Because water is a medium, that it is not easy for anything to break through the force that is holding the water molecule. But because of their streamlined body, they can easily swim inside the water because of their streamlined body. And what this streamlined body does is that it reduces the drag due to turbulence. You understand? And apart from that, their head, body, and tail, they are laterally compressed. You understand? When they say something is laterally compressed, it means they are compressed on both sides. Are you getting me now? As well as their eyes. The eyes is deeply placed on either side of the head, and they produce mucus from the epidermis, which serve as a protective function against infection to the skin and lessen the drag due to friction. So because of these mucus that they produce, I think I've explained the function of mucus in agnatans, which is lamprey. Because of these mucus that they produce, it is not easy for infection to land on their body, and also it is like a grease, like a oil. You understand? Just like you want to make something to be smooth, you apply a oil. You understand? So, like a oil, it reduces the drag due to friction. This is their first adaptive features. The second so this is also showing a streamlined body. Can you see? Can you see the way the body looks like? So this is also showing a streamlined body. Can you see the way the body look like? So the body does not look like spherical. You understand? It does not look like circle. It does not look like sphere. So it is very, very easy for them to move inside the water due to their due to their body contour. Now, the second adaptive features is their fin. There are two types of fins. We have the paired fins and we have the unpaired fins. You see, the paired fins include the pelvic and the pectoral fin, and the unpaired fins include the what? Include the dorsal, the caudal, and the anal fin. Now, this image is showing the fins that we have. You see this one that is here. Let me change my ink. Let me change it to green. So let me change it to, let me say this. Now look at this. This one that is here is known as the what? Is known as the caudal fin. This one that is here is known as the anal fin. This one is the pectoral, and this one is the pelvic fin, and this one is what? Is the dorsal fin. Can you see? This is the dorsal fin. You see, this fin is very, very important for them in swimming. Now, you see the pelvic and the pectoral fin that is here, the one that I cycled here, they are called the paired fins because we have them on either side. We have them on this side, and we have them on the other side. You now see the anal fin, the caudal fin, and the dorsal fin. They are what? They are unpaired fins. You understand? So these are the two type of fins that we have. So paired fins and unpaired fins. Now, dorsal and anal fins are help in stabilizing the body. You understand? It helps in what? In stabilizing the body, preventing it from yawning and rolling during swimming. You now see pelvic and pectoral fin. They act as steering. I get me now. They act as what? They act as steering. So they use for what? They use for steering. You understand? From moving from right to left, from left to right. And caudal fin plays an important role in propulsion, like in moving them forward. You understand? Which means fin is an important structure for them to what? For them to swim. You understand? And I said we have type of fins, which is what? Which is paired fins and unpaired fins. And I said paired fin include the pectoral and pelvic fin, and unpaired include dorsal, caudal, and anal fin. You understand? So that is just it. Now let us move to types of caudal fin. We have different type of caudal fin. We have the protosaca, we have the heterosaca, we have the homosaca, and we have the diaphysaca. You see, this heterosaca is mostly found in sharks, which is chondrocytes. You understand? Chondrocyte. I'm sure that you have seen something like this before. Look at this structure that we have here. Look at the fin of this of the one here. Can you see? Can you see the fin? This is what? This is heterosaccal fin. You understand? caudal fin. I'm talking about caudal fin. Can you see that the caudal fin of this one is different from this one? This is homosaca. So we have them like that, like that. This is also heterosaca. Can you see? So we have them like that. Those are the types of what? Those are the types of caudal fin. We now have the type of tails in fishes as well. We can have them as pointed, we can have them as truncate, we can have them as forked, we can have them as lunate. We have them like that. These are the type of tails in fishes and their common names. You understand? Now, these are the types of scales that are found in fishes because most of the fishes, especially the bony fishes, let me say the bony fishes, not the cartilaginous fishes, most of the bony fishes, their body is covered with scales. You understand? Their body is covered with scales. And we have different type of scales. We have the placoid scales, ganoid scales, cycloid scales, and tenoid scales. So these are the different type of dermal scales that is found mostly in bony fishes. You understand? Now let us proceed. The next one is the internal modification. Internal modification is an important adaptation for primary aquatic habitats in their habitats. And let us talk about the first internal modification is the muscles for locomotion. Now, the locomotion in fishes is performed by a lateral undulating flexible body and bundle of this shape muscles are called the myotomes, and they are arranged on lateral side of the body. And this helps them in what? This helps them in undulation of the flexible body. And we have the image here of the myotomes or the myomes. You understand? So look at this structure. Can you see the shape of this? Let me change it. The ink here. Can you see the shape? Can you see how it looks? This is how it looks. Can you see? So this is the shape of the what? Of the myotomes, and this is the muscles. You understand? That helps them in swimming. Now, let us proceed. The next one is modification for floating. And what they modify for floating is the swim bladder. I get me now. How does the swim bladder look? It is a hollow and a large sac filled with gas, and it is present in the abdominal cavity of most bony fishes. And this is how a swim bladder looks like. It is filled with gases. And what is here? Can you see what is here? It is called the pneumatic duct. You understand? It's called what? The pneumatic duct. This is it here. Can you see pneumatic duct? And because it has a pneumatic duct, we call it what? We call it physiostomous swim bladder. And the one that does not have pneumatic duct, we call it physoclitus swim bladder. You understand? So a swim bladder can have a pneumatic duct and it may not have a pneumatic duct. Anyhow, but you should know that it is the swim bladder that provide what? That provide buoyancy. That is very, very important. That provide buoyancy in water and helps them to float inside water. You understand? Now, it also serves as hydrostatic organ in fishes. It helps them in floating at a certain depth of the water body. That is what we have, and that is the function of the swim bladder. Now, the next one is modification of balloon for muscular attachment and movement. And they possess amphicoelous vertebrae, that is the backbone. They possess amphicoelous vertebrae, which makes the vertebrate column in fishes to be rigid, and it helps them in lateral undulation of the body. And when you see undulation, undulation is like movement like this, you understand? Like the way they move, and the way they escape inside water. So it is the modification for bone and muscular attachment that helps them with this, and we call it amphicoelous vertebrae. Now, modification for respiration. What they use for respiration is the gills. And in cartilaginous fishes, they don't have operculum. You understand? Cartilaginous fishes does not have operculum. They have a gill slit. But bony fishes, their gill is covered with operculum. Now look at it. This is the gill. Can you see the gill here? Now the gill is now covered with a structure called the operculum in bony fishes. But you see in cartilaginous fishes, just like sharks, can you see? This is the slit. Can you see something like a tribal mark at the cheek of the shark? That is what known as gill slits, and that is what they use for their own respiration. Look at it here too. It is also present in this place, in this number, in this E. Understand? And that is what they use for respiration. You understand? So their gill is present in the gill slits. They have up to 6 to 7 gill slits. You understand? So the gill is present in the gill slits in chondrocytes, but the gill is covered with operculum in the osteocytes, and we have that. Now, let us proceed. So the next modification is the modification of sense organs. And what are the sense organs we have? We have the brain, we have the eyes, we have the skin as well. Now, the eyes in fishes is very, very large, and the lens is spherical. And this lens makes them to have a graded refractive index, which helps them in seeing everything that happens inside the water as well as outside the water. And the choroid layer of their eyes consists of rete mirabili. And rete mirabili is produce high oxygen retention for the retina. That is what it does. Rete mirabili, that is what it does. It is present in the choroid layer, and it provides high oxygen tension for the retina. And we have the sclera as well. You understand? Now, the next one is the fate of air. They have the Weber ossicle, and you have to know that fishes have internal ear. Are you getting me now? Fishes have what? They have only internal ears, and they have sense of taste and smell as well. Their sense of taste and smell are highly developed. Are you getting me now? But nostril have no connection with the mouth. Are you getting me now? Their nostril have no connection with the mouth. What they use nostril for is for chemoreception. You understand? Their nose is used for chemosensation. Now, they have some of them have a lining at the buccal cavity, and we call the lining the barbels. Are you getting me now? Now, we now have another modification. We call it lateral lines. You understand? We are calling lateral lines. You see, lateral line is present in their body. They use it for what? They use it for detecting movement inside the water. In case there is a prey, there is a predator that jumps into the water, they will use the lateral line to detect what? To detect what is happening inside the water, the movement inside the water. And the lateral line is embedded in the dermis, extended from the head to the tail. You understand? And they are called lateral line sense organ. Now, another modification is modification for camouflaging, which we can see in this fish that I'm just showing the picture here. Can you see? It's camouflaged to the extent that you won't even know that there is a fish there. You understand? And you do this to escape what? To escape predators. We also have something like this. This is also a camouflage from a fish. And this camouflaging is used to escape what? A predator. Now they have another structure that is used for defense and offense. And that is what we know as venom. This is a stonefish. A stonefish, they have a poison gland all over their body. Even it is referred to be the most poisonous fish in the whole world. If you should touch any poisonous gland, they are going to what? They are going to inject venom into the what? Into the bloodstream. You understand? And what they use this for is for what? Is for defense, so that nothing will prey on them. You understand? And we have electric eel that has electric organ that is basically used for what? That is basically used for defense and offense as well. So if it wants to attack any animals or it wants to kill, it can use its electric organ by producing electricity. And if anyone try to touch it or try to catch it, it can produce this electricity as well. So as to what? Um so as to electrocute the predator. You understand? And these are the adaptation of primary aquatic animals. So in this video, we have explained what are aquatic animals. Those are animals that stay in water. What are the classification of aquatic animals? That is primary aquatic animals and the secondary aquatic animals. What are the adaptation of primary aquatic animals in their habitat? We have the body contour, which is the streamlined body. We have the modification, we have the fins, we have the paired and unpaired fins, and we have the modification for internal organ, which is where we have myotomes for musculation, we have bone for locomotion, we have eyes, that is modification for sense organs, we have lateral lines, we have thermoreception, we have chemoreception, we have camouflaging, and we have the development of venom that is used for what? That is used for defense. So these are the things that we have answered in this class. And in the next class, we'll be talking about the class chondrochites and the osteochites. So thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate. So next class, inshallah.